We believe that the State Attorney's Office, beginning the day after Ms. Clenney's arrest, mobilized the media and utilized them as a tool. It's clear that the family of the decedent in this case also did the same.
Courtney Clenney, the OnlyFans model accused of murdering her boyfriend, Christian Obumseli, asked to keep the public from seeing the evidence prosecutors have gathered against her, calling some of it salacious and sexually explicit. So what happened with this request in court, and how could it impact the case? I'm Angenette Levy, and welcome to Law and Crime's Sidebar podcast. Courtney Clenney is the OnlyFans model who's back in Florida after being arrested in Hawaii. She is there to face a second-degree murder charge for the death of her boyfriend, Christian Obumseli. And I know that you've all seen that video in the elevator of her hitting him and him appearing to just kind of back up and not really take part in this fight. We read court documents that showed that this was a very tumultuous relationship. So Clenney is an OnlyFans model. So she's apparently got a lot of stuff on her phone that's sexually explicit. It's material of her doing things, I guess, as part of her job. And her lawyer, Frank Pietro, asked that this be kept secret. He doesn't want it out there, and he asked the court for an order limiting what would be released to the public.
They did a cell phone download of Ms. Clenney's phone, which is going to contain hundreds, the generation, hundreds, probably thousands of text messages. It's also going to contain content that she would use on her OnlyFans site, which has nothing to do with the events of August 3rd, 2022, April 3rd, 2022, when Ms. Clenney had to defend herself. It's going to contain, this drop of discovery, I'm submitting a terabyte drive to the state, is going to contain personal text messages with her family, friends, third parties that have nothing to do with this case. And that's going to be subject to Chapter 119, and the media, through Ed Griffith and the State Attorney's Office, they're going to send links to the media. Here's your public records request link to this video. And it's going to contain information that is highly inflammatory.
I know it feels like there are a million streaming services out there, but if you are looking for true crime content, Magellan TV is the place for you. Magellan TV is a documentary streaming service founded by filmmakers, and it has more true crime content than any other platform. It even has things that I've never heard of. Magellan adds between 15 and 20 hours of new content each week, so you'll never run out of new things to watch. You can actually watch How to Catch a Serial Killer. It's where a British detective goes after a suspect in a decade-old case involving a suspected serial killer. It takes you minute by minute through the search for Christopher Hallowell. It starts from minutes after the crime to the present, and it is absolutely riveting. Another thing about Magellan TV, it doesn't have ads, and it also has other shows about history, science, space, travel, and much more. You can watch Magellan anytime, anywhere on your TV, your laptop, or phone, and it's compatible with Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, Google Play, and iOS. An annual membership costs $59.98. That's $4.99 per month for 3,500 hours of documentaries. Law and Crime Sidebar listeners and viewers get a 1-month free trial. Just log on to MagellanTV.com/lawandcrime so you can watch How to Catch a Serial Killer. Again, that's MagellanTV.com/lawandcrime. The Miami Herald was in court to argue against this request. You know, they think that there should be no limit on the public disclosure because this evidence is usually available to the public in Florida. But Frank Prieto talked about an email that his office actually received discussing Courtney Clenney and her culpability. So let's listen to what he had to say about that.
Judge, I received, just to talk about the impact of releasing these drips of discovery, I received somebody on August 14th was so impacted by the release of this video that they felt the need to go to my website and click on the ability to send me an email. And it says, "Sorry, bud, but Courtney is going away for murder. After seeing the earlier video of that elevator, there's no way her self-defense story holds up. She's a psycho that needs to be locked up." This is not the only one, but this is the attention that this garnered. Somebody felt the need to go and communicate with me directly. because of this video.
And Courtney Clenney lost this battle. This is what the judge had to say about her request.
Based on argument presented in this hearing, based on the written pleadings, the legal authority, and the declarations respectfully, the motion for protective order and injunctive relief is denied.
And joining me to discuss this is Bryant Camareno. He's a defense attorney in the Tampa area, and he's been following the case. So, Bryant, welcome back to Sidebar. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bryant, have you ever made a request like this in all of your years as a defense attorney to limit what the public can see from the discovery in the case?
Absolutely. There have been many occasions, and this would be an example of one time where I would try to emphasize to keep this out because I don't think it's relevant to the case, number one. Number two, it potentially exposes the public, potential jurors, to a part of her life that may not be relevant and could taint the jurors way before they're even selected. So again, some jurors are more prudish, more conservative than others, and they might just want to convict her just based on her occupation or her career alone. And so I can see why Mr. Prieto is moving to exclude this.
But he lost. He had argued basically that this isn't, the old days of the newspaper just coming out once or twice a day. We have social media now. We have social media used to drive readers, drive traffic to websites. So he's saying we live in a different world now. But obviously the judge is saying no dice. Are you surprised by that?
No, I'm not I'm not surprised by his argument, and I'm not surprised that the judge ruled the way he did because the First Amendment, unfortunately, trumps everything else. And so here, the Miami Herald had standing. The public has the right to know everything, but it is a balancing test. The judge would have to balance her right to a fair trial. So I think what's going to happen is obviously he denied the request to keep that out, but during the trial, my guess is that he's going to deny being introduced as evidence. So I think the public has the right to know the whole story, everything about her life. It's out there anyway. It's public domain. So I don't think the judge had any standing or any legal reason to preclude the Miami Herald or any news source from publishing this material.
Obviously, even if it's not admitted as evidence in the case, it's still part of the public record because of the discovery laws in the state of Florida. But I guess his concern is this could taint a potential jury pool. They may look at her a certain way. There may be people who get a picture in their minds of who she is, and maybe it won't be a sympathetic one. I'm assuming that's the concern here.
I agree. And again, that's why it makes perfect sense that Mr. Prieto will do this, because again, some jurors just may not appreciate what she does for a living. And again, I'm not here to judge anyone, but some jurors might. They might prejudge her. And imagine if they're selected and then they carry that with them inside the jury selection, the jury box, even though they swear that they'll only consider the evidence. We're all human. So I can see again why Mr. Prieto wants the public not to see that part of her life.
So what do you expect moving forward? We know what we know about the case. I'm sure there's tons of discovery that we don't have or don't have access to. Moving forward, I guess all the defense attorney can do at this point is keep his head down and tell his client to do the same so that they don't feed the fire of whatever news coverage is out there.
Right. Well, I can expect Mr. Prieto filing several motions in limine to not only keep all of the videos out or all of the content out, but maybe even specific ones out. So, for example, the judge may find that some of these are relevant and others are not. And so I can see the judge maybe on a case-by-case basis, video per video. For example, let's just say there's a video out there where she's mimicking killing someone as an example. I could see, in whatever context she filmed it. As an example, I can see the judge saying, well, that's going to come in because that's relevant. It could be probative to show that she had the state of mind to hurt somebody. So I can see the defense attorneys filing several motions in limine to, again, either keep them all out or one by one select, okay, which ones are relevant, which ones are not, without losing his objection and to keep trying to keep them all out. So lots of motions, I think, are going to be filed between now and December.
Yeah, and this trial is set for December. Do you see the trial actually happening in December, or do you think it gets pushed back?
In Tampa, for example, we're backlogged. So Miami, from what I understand, I've practiced in Miami and I have cases in Miami now. They're pretty busy. But I think that this case has priority. So I'm pretty sure the judge, absent any from either party not being ready, I can see it going in December because it is a priority case. There's victims involved, there's victims' families involved, and everyone wants closure. So I can see the judge pushing this along and making sure that everything's done by December. Now, again, if either party's not ready, then I would anticipate a motion to continue, but not likely. There's plenty of time to get things done.
Well, Bryant Camareno, defense attorney in the Tampa area, following this case closely, thank you so much for coming on to talk with us about it. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.
And that's it for this edition of Law and Crime Sidebar Podcast. It is produced by Sam Goldberg and Logan Harris. Bobby Szoke is our YouTube manager. Kiera Bronson handles our social media. And Alyssa Fisher handles our bookings. You can listen to Sidebar on Apple, Spotify, Google, and wherever else you get your podcasts. You can also watch it, as always, on Law and Crime's YouTube channel. I'm Angenette Levy, and we will see you next time.